Synagogues around the country beefing up security in wake of that horrific Hanukkah stabbing inside a rabbi's home last weekend. This, as a Texas parishioner is hailed a hero for stopping a gunman who opened fire during Sunday's service. State law allowing legal gun owners to carry inside parishes. Our next guest runs a service providing security to houses of worship. Former Secret Service agent Tim Miller is CEO of Lionheart International. He joins us live now. Tim, Happy New Year to you. Thanks so much for being here, because we're seeing this trend, and perhaps the takeaway most recently out of Texas is that maybe more houses of worship would like this sort of thing. What do you say?
Well, Griff, first, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. And you're exactly right. I mean, the culture in our society is changing. And churches and synagogues, we need to have plans. We need to have the ability to stop what we saw happen both in Texas and New York. And the interesting dynamic is one was in a home and another was in a church. And those security concerns are not bound by traditional limits. So unfortunately, it's a new world, and we have to think about it in a different way.
Tim, so how can churches, synagogues, and many with little means that can't afford, to just hire traditional security service, how can they better protect themselves?
Well, that's a great question, Griffin. That's kind of what we try to help with. There are basically three things that any church, regardless of size, needs, and that's a team that's focused on this, the right-hearted team, training, good training, and then technology. And technology such as cameras used to be, cost prohibitive, and now they're not. And what I found is that if we go in and we help organizations, churches, find the right people, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to get in the way of the mission of the church. The church is a place where you want hurting people to come. You want them to be able to come and not feel like it's a police state. But you definitely need the ability to protect them. And that's one thing I think all churches across the country are waking up to. They need to have a plan. They need to have a team. And we saw Mr. Wilson illustrate that beautifully in Texas. Thank God.
He, like you, years of training and fortunately kicked in. Let me talk to you about the law, though, in Texas. Should other states be emulating this? Are there lessons to learn from the Texas law that provided the other key element, aside from the personnel, and that is the ability to have someone with a good guy with a gun against a bad guy with a gun?
Yeah, Griffith, as you know, my background is a Marine in the Secret Service. I swore to uphold and support the Constitution. And the Constitution provides a protection, for citizens to defend themselves. I am a big advocate for the state in enabling churches and other organizations to protect themselves. Because can you imagine how this would have been different had they not had a trained team that was ready to act and respond, and they had to wait several minutes for the police to come? And I'm a big police supporter, but that would have been a horrific event. And so it does rest now with churches to protect themselves. And I agree that having laws in place that enable them to do that is critical.
All right, Tim Miller, thanks very much for your insight. Unfortunately, this is an era where perhaps we have to find our own solutions. Thank you for being here. Happy New Year.